Mengo's Awakening was announced yesterday morning, and now I want to take a look at him. Of course, he's not in the game yet, but Pinky made a great video on it, and so I will use this one as reference. I asked Pinky if he allows me to do it, and he was a very nice guy, and he allowed me to use this video to shout out to him. And first of all, to get this out of the way, Mengo will need exclusive tokens, so you will have to use the Valor shop. But I will talk more on this later. Now we are going to talk a bit about the value Mengo will bring. I think one of the first things I want to mention is Rebel Leaders. Mengo is a very strong cav damage dealer. You can see in 0 stars he has 8k damage, attack damage. And for 0 stars it's quite high. I think that's even higher than like Sheila, similar to Arya, I think. And when you get him to 4 star, I think he will have similar pure damage output just from his base attack compared to someone like Arya or Merrel, who both are quite good when you use counter. And so he will be good for some pure damage. You can add to Rebel Leaders. Of course, I cannot make any specific formations. That would be too early. But I think it will be quite strong. Another thing where Merrel will be very strong is the Tavern. Here he has leadership and combat rate. And although it's just 3 and 1 star, it will still be strong, especially when you consider that with the 2 star, like for example here, with the 2 star you get an additional star, so it's 2 stars for leadership and 4 stars for combat rate. So it would make sense to 2 star him just for the Tavern stats, if for nothing else. So that's something to keep in mind. Now about Mengo's stats. In normal PvP at the moment, it gives 30% cav attack and 30% cav defense, and some wall defense, but I guess nobody really cares about that. And it makes them decent, especially for free-to-play lineups. I guess in like basically every single free-to-play cav lineup he's in. So now those cav lineups will be stronger. And yeah, with Awakening, you will get from the 3 star, I think that's like commonly known, that you get an additional 1.6 of the original value. That's when you're 30%. When you're 30%, that's 18%. You will get in addition, and you will get another 18% cav attack from hidden abilities. You will have no cav defense and no cav health in hidden abilities. It's also something you can see in the video. You will get fortification buffs and cav attack. So although his hidden abilities could be more optimal, it's not bad. It's 64% cav attack just from the command itself without weapon. Another thing that has to be kept in mind, of course, is 4 star ability. I screenshotted it out of the video. It's a bit low quality, so I will just read it out. Each time our cavalry launches a critical strike, the attack power and defense power of our cavalry will increase by 5%. The upper limit is 50%. As you can see, it's a bit strangely worded. I guess it's because it's Pioneer. I will assume here that our cav launches means just one lineup launches, and critical strike is a critical hit, and attack and defense power will be just attack percentage and cav defense percentage. I will assume that. Of course, I will not know 100%. Another thing I have to assume here is that attack and defense buffs count for all lineups and not just like 1A, because otherwise it would be very useless 4 star, and our cavalry sounds like a more general wording, so I guess it will be all lineups. If it's not, I will talk about that later as well. And yeah, so it's now the question, you need to deal critical strikes. How can you do that? For the critical strikes, you need other commanders, and there are a few ones who can. One of them, which I don't have, is Jon Snow. This bottom part, that's the important part. Allied infantry and non-front troops types normal attacks will have a 20% chance of dealing 150% critical hit for 25 seconds. So this ability allows 20% chance to deal a critical hit. So it's 1 in 5. So Jon Snow would work together with Mengo. But when you have Jon Snow, you typically will not use Mengo, so I will not talk too much about it. I guess it would work, but I don't think anyone will ever do that. Unless there are some weird AC things people try to use, but actually worked when they last did it, so I will not complain. Another commander who can lead to critical hits is rare. Have 4-star ability. Also the button part here. When the allied front row lands a total of 20 normal attacks, the next normal attack will be a critical hit. So it's another thing that would work. I don't have rare 4-star, so I cannot test how much she gets triggered when someone else has her. I would appreciate if you could do that. I cannot, sadly, but I have something else I can test, and that's what I'm going to now, because another commander who can lead to critical hits is Merrel. After each allied cavalry liner performs 4 normal attacks, half increased by 5%, and their next normal attack has a 50% chance to trigger a critical hit. Yeah, Merrel is someone you can use, and as he is free to play and so accessible for everyone, it's something I see like people using free to play and low spender. And as I have him forced, as you can see, I collected some data. Here again the 2 4-stars. And so I put out some data. It's a bit confusing at the start. First of all, we look at the left part, and this is an example I use. That's from an attack I did. I can just show that when I still have it. I think it was this one I originally used. As you can see, I use Merrel here. Nothing else that could like deal additional normal attacks or no weapons, so it is all just standard Merrel. Yeah, and then I just looked at the battle report, and you can see in, like, for example, here Merrel gets triggered, and then in the next second you see that he crits. And I put that into some data, into a spreadsheet here, and Merrel basically procs, because he works at each lineup. So if I want to use this one again, each lineup, so A5, A5, A4, A3, A2, A1, they all each have to get 4. So it's not just, okay, A1 attacks, then A2, then A3, and A4, okay, they crit. That doesn't work like this. Each has to do 4 normal attacks to crit. And as you can see, so these are the normal attacks, or like in general the attacks, and as you can see here, each lineup attacks, then the next, then the third attack, and here in the fourth attack, Merrel procs. And then when you attack the next time, there are crits, 50%, as visible here, 50% chance. This time I was a bit lucky, 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5, that's 20 out of 35. That's quite a lot. 35 is the total amount of Merrel procs you will get. It's, from what I can see, without like weapon or anything, it is every time 35. And so that's pretty consistent. The crits, of course, is something that is random. It's a 50%. And that's what I did on the right side here. Here you can see I just used 2.5, so every time 50%, every time half of the chance. And then you have 16.5, because those who get procced here, party don't do another attack here, just 3 of them do. And so that's just 1.5 and 16.5 crits. And now you can, of course, work with the stats, attack and defense by 5%. So in the 9th second, there's 2.5 crits. So on average, of course, 12.5% stats increase. Like in reality, of course, it will be different here. For example, it was 15. And of course, can also be like in between these two. That's something you also have to keep in mind. And then, in second 13, there's another 2.5. Then here another 2.5, another 2.5, another 2.5, and so on. And then you can also see always the stats increase. And this first one, like the second one, here I used a limit. That's the maximum of 50%, upper limit of 50%. So actually, just with a normal Merrel, you will get this after 27 seconds. And this is quite 25 seconds, which is pretty early. And this means that cap really lowers its value. Like when you look at the no cap, you can, at the end, you have 82%. And yeah, when you look at the average, because of course, having 50% at the end is not the same as having 50% at the start. It's 30% roundabout. You have to keep in mind, of course, that at the start you have more troops, so the percentage are a bit more important. Of course, there's like no real way to like calculate that. What I did, I just included the first 4 seconds of this battle, who are not, or the first 3 seconds of the battle, where there are no even total attacks, no attacks at all. Just the armies marching at each other. So it's not perfect, but you can assume that Merrel's 4-star will give you around 30% cav attack and defense. And when you would remove the cap, for example, when he gets a weapon, and let's say there's no like increase in the amount of stats he gives, it's of course also possible that he then gets 6 or 7% each time, or that's something else happens. But when you just assume that the cap gets increased, I know some weapons do that, then he would get up to 82% and on average 35% cav attack. And yeah, to conclude this, his 4-star is not that strong. I think there are even free-to-play better 4-star abilities. But it's also not that bad. 35% is not, or 30% is not nothing. It's something that many people who are free-to-play will have to use, because there's no like other free-to-play synergy. This is, except like some Una area stuff, pretty much the only free-to-play synergy that like makes sense. And so just having the 30% is of course better than not having them. And now is of course the question, who is going to use this? Like in general, I of course see free-to-play people use it. For example, free-to-play cav lineup could look like this, for example, like this. You have on 3 or 4 or 5 you have cav attack. So this is actually like a good lineup with Mengo. Of course, just very pure stats and a very heavy focus on attack, but it will work. And I think it's better than like every other free-to-play lineup you have. Like for example, in Spear, when you don't have Hector, it's very hard. You have to use like some total attack commanders. And for infantry, it's basically the same. And so the cav free-to-play lineup is, I think from pure stats point of view, will be the best. And it will have synergy. But of course, cav has its problems on its own. For example, the heavy focus of many people to go for spears. So of course it's not like careful dominate or anything like that, especially because free to play doesn't really matter like in the grand scheme of things. And another thing I can see is that some mid spenders or like low spenders could pull up an Inspire lineup with Merrel and Mengo, where you use the 3 and then you add Rhea and Sinara, and then you get a sort of inf cav normal tech crit lineup. I'm, to be honest, not sure if that would be worth it, especially because using multiple lines is not very strong these days. But of course, this could work. Maybe for defense, for example, in Cav, you cannot really counter it with Spear. Cav, yeah, but when you have a heavy focus on Cav on both sides, it could work. But of course, it has its flaws. And to be honest, when you can get 2 commanders, Sinara and Rhea, I would add, like, I don't know, free to play, I would add Chris and Barrett, for example, and I don't know, Lario again, yeah, Lario, these 4, and then Sinara, and you go for Inf, and I think that's much stronger. But if you really want to go Inf, Cav, Bleed, or like normal attack crit lineup, then sure, I guess it would work sort of. But again, it's not really something I would suggest. And of course, lastly, every mid to high spender will not go for it at all. Scenario rare are set, and then everything works better. Again, having 2 lines is not optimal. And when you have any of the F5 commanders, go for them, and going for bleed in general, like you would add lads, I guess, and then just go for pure inf stats with Bird and Laria. I cannot recommend it. The last thing I promised to talk about was the price. And of course, you will need 600 medals or tokens because there's a ratio of 1 to 1, so you get 1 token for 1 medal. So you will need 600. 600 times 100 is 60k, which is actually quite kind of cheap compared to other things. When you look at what you get from like an SC or Siege of Winterfell match, you get, when you are able to get 80k points, you get around 5k Valor points when you are like a mid-rank in healing and elimination rankings. And so you just need around 12 good matches to get him from 0 star to 4 star. That's assuming that would be 2 seasons if you every time get it. Of course, it's unlikely, so it's maybe 3 or 4 seasons of events, which is compared to getting Simon very cheap. For example, getting Simon to gold, 330 medals, and they each cost 600. That's almost 200k Valor points. And so it's much cheaper than that. And getting Simon 2 star is 72k. So it's even cheaper than making him 2 star. And so going for Mengo relatively early for the 4 star, or at least 3 star for the stats, would be worth it, at least for Cav players. When you're really free to play full Cav, I would honestly not make Simon gold, keep him at purple, and then make Mengo 4 star. Except that I would say make Simon gold, maybe 2 star, and then go for Mengo and 2 star him for the Tavern stats. Or maybe make Mengo 2 star first. But it's not, if you're not Cav, of course, there's no real rush except for Tavern and maybe Rebel Leader damage. So, in conclusion, Mengo will be strong for free-to-play players who will play Cav. And he has some value in low spender builds with Inf Cav in a normal attack crit setup. but even then there are better lineups. So he's mainly a free-to-play commander for PvP, but he still has use in Rebel Leaders and in Tavern for leadership and combat rate. And so getting him at least 2-star is worth it for everyone. That's it for this, I hope not too long video. That's the first time I have done something like this, so give me some feedback. And yeah, we will see us later this week when I post the next video.